If you like stories like this, don't forget to subscribe for more. The Story of the Mermaid.
Storyberries.
The Mermaid Princess by Jade Maître. Deep below the roar and churn of surf is a world of strange plants, curious creatures, and gleaming pearls. In this garden lived a mermaid princess. She was daughter of the Sea King and Queen. She had the tail of a fish. It was smooth as pee-pee shells and as glittering as the moon on the sea at night. And she had the voice of whales, haunting and more exquisite than any human sound. The Mermaid Princess had all the wonders of the underwater world at her fingertips. She had gardens of coral, glittering sands, aquatic willows, and a whole school of little pet fish in all the colours of the rainbow. And she loved to sing. With her strong and expressive voice, she would sing every morning and evening. It gave her great happiness. Yet the thing she longed for more than anything was to see the sun. This is a very usual thing for humans, who always yearn for those things they do not have and cannot get. But for a mermaid, it was very unusual. There was a tradition amongst the sea folk that on turning 15 years of age, each would be permitted to finally visit the surface, to where they called the great upworld, and behold the world above. There they could marvel at its perfumes of salt and jasmine, the touch of breeze, and the sight of clouds skidding across the vast, ever-changing sky. Every time her sisters turned 15, the Mermaid Princess begged her older sisters to tell her what they had seen. Sparkling cities, they said, shining rectangular reflections on the skin of the sea. Feathered fish with pointed mouths that soar and swoop in the air. Green hills and strange children whose tails end in a fork, who splash in the shallows with glee. But these were all stories, and not enough for a mermaid princess who longed to see it all for herself. When it was the Mermaid Princess's time to turn 15, she was cold with joy. She was given a great ceremony and was permitted to waft to the sea's surface wearing weed in her hair, a sign of her great importance to the kingdom. The first thing the Mermaid Princess saw when she arrived at the water's surface was not the bright, hot sun she had expected. It was instead a deep waning red, for her ceremony had taken most of the day, and it was now in the course of setting. Disappointed, she looked towards the shore. In the dark outlines, she saw her first thing of real wonder. It was a great ship creaking on the waves. She swam closer. It was then that she saw that there seemed to be some kind of festivity on the boat. In the twilight hues of dusk, each of the portholes on the side of the ship was lit with lights of a different colour. The Mermaid Princess heard the strangest thing, music that ran through the air, so light and clear, and then the thumping of slippers. At first she wondered if it was for her, and the great upworld had come to rejoice that she had finally come to see them. She swam closer then and beheld a great number of creatures that looked somewhat like her, but whose tails were forked, as her sisters had said. They used these forks to spin and twirl on the boat. She soon realized they were dancing. As she watched in ecstatic wonder, she saw the most beautiful man she had ever seen dancing amongst the others. His hair was dark as the deepest depths of the sea, and his teeth gleamed when he laughed like a little row of pearls. He danced for a long time, then wandered away from the others to the edge of the boat, where he found himself alone. At that moment, an enormous noise shattered above him. Now the sky filled with fire. The colours rained down upon him. The people came out clapping, and seeing his wondrous face, gazing up at the sky as tenderly as she now gazed at him, the Mermaid Princess was smitten. Suddenly the Mermaid Princess became aware of a rumble that resounded through the water. She looked to the sky behind her, away from the ship. In the distance she saw a strike of lightning. It was incredible to see it in the air and not filtered through the soft mute of seawater. The strike was sharp and glittering. It lit the scene, and then all was dark. A few moments more, and it happened again, like a fishbone cracking in the deep black of the sky. Then, as she watched, a great wave rose and a final clap of lightning hit the mast of the ship. The beautiful man was thrown from the edge of the boat and into the water. The others did not notice in the chaos of the moment. At first, the Mermaid Princess felt that the sky had delivered her a gift. She swam quickly to the beautiful man and took him into her arms. But she swiftly realized that he could not breathe under the water as she could. She held him up for a few moments, but his eyes were closed. She held his head above the water until the storm ceased, and then looked for help. The people on the boat were quiet. They had all gone to bed. The Mermaid Princess swam the beautiful man to the shore and lay him on the sand, his head upright to let the salt water drain. In the morning, more of the strange creatures without tails came. She now knew they were humans and found the beautiful man. He was well again, smiling and grateful. The dazzling morning sun returned the life in his white face, and it dried the seaweed in her hair. She knew that the beautiful man did not know that it was she who had saved him, but he was safe, and that was what counted. Now that she had made that first big trip, the Mermaid Princess could go to the surface of the ocean every night. So every night afterwards, she went to look for the beautiful man, whom she soon discovered was a prince. He lived in a palace of glass. She swam swiftly up the waterways to watch him in the warm glow of evening each night, eating meals, reading books by the window to his bedroom, and sometimes looking wistfully at the moon as if he, too, sought sunshine in another world. And the love within her felt sharp as an oyster. She would wait no more to know. One day the Mermaid Princess found her grandmother and asked her, "How can I be a human and live on top of the earth?" Her grandmother, a green-tinged matron with a dress of living octopus, sighed deeply. She'd been living long enough to know the signs of hopeless love and had feared the question for many weeks already. "To be human is not a good thing," said the grandmother. "They live much shorter lives than we do, but they have something called an immortal soul. When we die, we become only a light foam atop the water. When a human dies, they live still, even if their bodies are foam or dust." "But I would like an immortal soul," said the Mermaid Princess. "Why must we live only once, and after that never more hear the melody of the tides, or see the sun, or feel longing, or dream?" "You can have an immortal soul," said the grandmother, for she was an honest creature, "but only if a human man should love you so much that all his thoughts and all his love was fixed on you, and he promised to be true to you here and hereafter, and you were bound to one another in this way. But this is not likely," she said, "for human men do not consider a fish's tail beautiful." The Mermaid Princess, for the first time in her life, felt sad when she beheld her own tail. The tail that had swum her through many happy currents, that had grown with her since a tiny roe, now seemed a burden to her. She knew what she must do. She dived deep, deeper into those depths of the sea where strange fish live, fish with rows of sharp teeth and leering smiles, fish with lights protruding from their bulbous skulls and an unearthly pale to their flesh. There she found the sorceress of the deep, surrounded by shipwrecks and water snakes. The sorceress already knew what the Mermaid Princess sought. "Drink this potion," she said. "Your tail will dry up and shrink into forks they call legs. But this will come with the greatest pain. Every step you take will feel as though you danced on the sharpest of knives. But you will walk with the grace of a sea queen. Your beautiful man will like that. Yet think carefully. Once you take this shape, you may no longer be a mermaid. You will never see your family or the underwater kingdom again. And if you do not win the love of the beautiful man, the day he marries another, your heart will break and you will become no more substantial than foam on the waves." The Mermaid Princess agreed to all this, for she was convinced that she could show the beautiful man the beauty in her heart, the beauty of love, and that he would not fail to see how precious it was. But as she went to take the potion, the sorceress stopped her. "I require payment," she said. "I want your sweet voice, which sings so beautifully, which calls ships to dash themselves against rocks for longing." "But if you take my voice, what will there be left of me?" said the Mermaid Princess. "Your beauty, your walk, and your expressive eyes. It is enough to enchant a man, no?" The Mermaid Princess, sick with love, did not think it through. She opened her mouth, and the sorceress took her tongue. That night she took the potion. The next morning she found herself washed up on the beach where she had left the beautiful man the night she'd saved him. In the distance she saw his gleaming castle. She looked down. 2 legs, pretty and well formed, were where her tail had been. Her hair was draped around her in such a way that it resembled a perfect dress. She took a step towards the castle, then 2. It was agony, just as the sorceress had said. Yet somehow the Mermaid Princess managed to walk all the way to the castle. At the garden leading into the castle, the beautiful man was reading a book beneath a tree. He saw the Mermaid Princess and was enchanted. He invited her in. And although he asked her name again and again, she could only look at him and shake her head. Nonetheless, she was very beautiful, and he was enchanted with her. He gave her a room in the castle and invited her to all the concerts and balls. At the concerts and balls, the Mermaid Princess began to sorely miss her beautiful singing voice. Yet when she was enticed to dance, she rose, and gritting her teeth through the iron stakes that seemed to drive through her heels and toes, she danced with the grace of an angel. "Have you ever seen such a light step? Such a vision of beauty?" said the court. And the beautiful man was proud that everyone admired her and fell in love with her. How the Mermaid Princess craved her immortal soul! Many months passed like this. The beautiful man professed his love to her one evening by the light of a candle that flickered in his hand. "I love you," he said. "You remind me of a vision I once had after a shipwreck when the waves pushed me up on the sand. I had the impression of a great beauty who saved me. She was holy, as are you. You will always be my treasured dream, and I will honor you as a priestess. I will never let you leave my side, even after I am married." And the Mermaid Princess realized that the beautiful man did not consider her a real woman, but only a dream that he wanted near for his own sake. All his thoughts and all his love were not fixed on her. They were instead fixed on himself. But such was her love for him that she resolved herself to die for him, and so she accepted it, and could say nothing as he courted a foreign princess, and they were betrothed. On the night of the wedding, which took place on the same ship the Mermaid Princess had first seen the beautiful man, she could only watch, mute, as the happy couple danced to the crash of the waves and the laughter of their loved ones, which bubbled up like surges in the balmy night. Sitting by the side of the ship, the Mermaid Princess suddenly heard a sound like flippers. She looked around to see her 3 sisters, arm in arm, bobbing above the surf. "You must not die this evening," they told the Mermaid Princess. "We've made an arrangement with the sorceress. She's given us this knife. Plunge it into the human man's heart and you will be released and may return to us and your happy life in the Sea Kingdom, where you have all the wonder of life to occupy you for the rest of your days." The Mermaid Princess took the knife. Yet she could not do it. Her heart, fixed as it was on the beautiful man, could not contemplate life without him. She could not conceive pleasure in the rising of the sun amidst the clouds of salt and morning light. She could not feel the joy of her grandmother's arms around her, or feel the warm water swirling in currents from tropical places, or the touch of flowers waving gently, brushing her fingertips. This love had made her heart as mute as her tongue. There was nothing to be done. Her sisters watched, grief-stricken, as, at the moment of the matrimonial kiss, the Mermaid Princess dissolved into foam. And before they could collect it, the wind took it and scattered it across the 4 directions of the earth. But somewhere deep at the bottom of the ocean, her stolen voice still sang. The end.
Storyberry.